Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts. In today's video, we're making a box which is based on some professional packaging I saw, which was called a display box. However, I have seen boxes of this style on Pinterest, and I believe there is a die available which is called a flip top drawer box from Scrap Diva Designs. So the concept is the outer wrap pulls up like so, and this reveals a small treat box at the front of the inner box. If you continue to pull the outer wrap up, eventually the lid will flip back. You can pull this front section back down over the front, and then you have a display on the inside of the inner tray, and the box will actually now support itself and stand up. The inner box is 4 by 4 inches. This small box at the bottom is 4 inches by 1 inch, and it's 1 inch deep. You can of course adjust the size of the tray and the outer wrap to suit your needs, and there is plenty of space in this internal section if you wanted to add a gift card in the back rather than a display as I've done here. And then if we just pull the outer wrap back up, flip the top forward, it will come over the front, and then the outer wrap will slot back over the inner tray. So without further ado, let's put the project together. We'll start with the base box, and for a box which is 4 by 4 inches, I have one piece which is 6 by 6, and on all 4 sides we're going to score at 1 inch. And we'll just be making a simple tray for this element. So that's our first piece. Then for the internal box that's going to sit inside that box, you'll need one piece which is 5 by 3. Along the 3 inch sides, score at 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches and 2.5 inches. And along the long side, score at 1/2 inch and 4.5 inches. We'll make this section first, and then we'll come to the outer wrap section. Fold and burnish along all of the score lines. Take your scissors. We're going to cut up the first vertical score line up to the horizontal on the left hand side to create our corner glue tab, and then take a wedge from the end of that tab. Move across to the next corner, cut up the score line and take a wedge from the tab, and then we're going to rotate 180 degrees and repeat that process at the other end. So what we will do is add glue onto the corner glue tabs, pull those around the side section, pull that up, repeat that on both sides, and that will form our tray. Before we glue the piece, I'm going to use my circle punch just to cut a thumb notch into one of the side pieces, which will be the front of the box. That's the base tray completed, and now we'll make the internal box. Bring in your smaller piece and fold and burnish along all of the score lines. If you have your piece in a landscape orientation, we're going to remove the squares on all 4 corners, like so. I'm going to take a wedge from one of the long glue tabs, like so. On the short side, we're going to cut up the central vertical up to the horizontal, so that's going to give us 2 glue tabs side by side. I'm going to take a wedge from both of those, and then from the remaining long glue tab, which is still square, I'm just going to take the corner off. This is the tab which is going to sit down inside the box, and that's just my personal preference for the look of that. So what is going to happen is we're going to glue down the long shaped glue tab. That's going to come and sit in the back like so. These 2 small glue tabs are going to be adhered to the sides, and then the top of the box is going to come down and the lid will slot in like so. So I suggest you fold in the 2 lid tabs. I'm going to use construction glue for this to give me the wiggle room, so I'm adding it to the back hinge and to the 2 side glue tabs. Now you may find it easier to mark a line across the back 1 inch from the edge, so that gives you a pencil line to line up with. So I'm going to sit that in because I have got some time because of the glue I'm using, and I'm just going to fold down the lid like so. I've got these tabs out of the way for now. Make sure the lid sits in, and then just move the inner box, move this box towards the front until I'm happy that that's sitting in the right place, which that now is. I'm going to gently lift the lid up and then just go in and burnish down these tabs. I can just do that with my fingers and then push this down. So if I tuck these tabs in now, these are going to come down the side of the lid, and the front of the lid is going to sit and slot in next to the notched side like so. We'll let that dry. Whilst that's drying, we'll work on the outer wrap. We're going to start with 1 piece of cardstock, which is 1/16 of an inch over 6 1/8 of an inch, and 1/16 of an inch over 8 1/8 of an inch. On the short side, we're going to make a pencil mark at 1/16 of an inch over 1 inches and move the pencil mark along to the next track, and we're going to score. We're then going to move the cardstock back to the left-hand side and score at 5 1/8. Rotate the piece to the long side. We're going to make a pencil mark at 1/16 of an inch over 3 inches. Move to the next track, so that will be 3 1/8 of an inch, and then score. Move the cardstock back so it's against the left-hand side and score at 4 1/8 of an inch. At 6 1/8, we're going to score between the 2 horizontal score lines. Like so. And then we're going to make a pencil mark at 7 1/8, top and bottom. So that's the first piece of cardstock. The second piece you'll need is 1/16 over 6 inches times 1/16 over 1 inch. Along the long side, score at 1 inches, rotate 180 degrees and score at 1 inches. Take the largest piece and fold and burnish along score lines. So if you have your piece so that you've got your central score line towards you, we're going to draw from the end of that score line down to the pencil mark on the outer edge of the cardstock. And we'll do that both sides. Take your scissors. We're going to start by cutting up the pencil lines that we've just made, like so, and then we can just fold and burnish along the score line. Rotate the piece so we've got our folded section on the right hand side, and we're going to cut up the 2 score lines within the 1 inch section and take a wedge from that small central glue tab. Do the same on the other side. So this is our piece. Fold the 2 small tabs in and bring down this top section to the front like so. Fold up the back shaped section and line it up across the side like so. So I've got the shaped section over the full section. I'm going to draw a line across using the shaped section as my guide. And then I'm going to cut along that pencil line. So our back tab will be the same shape as our front tab. Do the same on this side. So I'm going to fold in this section, sit this one over the top. You can always go back in and trim a little bit more away if you need to at the end. Draw that across with my pencil and then cut that section away. So your piece has got your hinge section at the back. We've got a shaped section this side, 2 small tabs and a shaped front section here. So we can start to add our piece together. I'm going to add glue. You could do one at a time if you would prefer. And then I'm going to bring over this top section and add the 2 small glue tabs to the inside. Make sure they get lined up. And then I'm going to add glue onto these side sections that we've just pulled to the front. Bring this across and sit that over the top. So that's one side and that is another side. That's the front of the case. The box is going to fit in like so. Take your second strip, fold and burnish along the score lines, and I'm going to take a wedge from the ends of the 1-inch glue tabs. So that is going to sit over the front of the box like so. So I'm going to sit the box up and do one side at a time. Add glue onto the glue tab. Try not to get glue anywhere else. You can take the box out if you'd prefer, but by doing it this way, I've got something to lean to press against. Do just move the box in and out just to make sure it's not sticking where it shouldn't be sticking. And then I'm going to adhere the other side. So that is the base section of the box in place. So once that's dried, you can pull out the front of the box and you can obviously access then the treats or the gift, whatever you've chosen to put in that. Pull the outside wrap up further. It will get to the point where the hinge will hinge back like so. Pull the front back down and then this piece will sit back and it will create the display case. So that's sitting like that. That's going to stand up. And then you have your display section in the front. And again, if you want to get back into the box, slide the wrap up, fold this back over to the front, and then this comes back down over the top and slides down like so. So there we have our display box ready for additional decoration. Here are the finished elements of the box. So for the outer wrap, this front piece is 3 3/4 by 2 3/4, and then I've cut 4 strips which were 3 3/4 by 3/4. Use those on the top, on the front here, and on the sides. And for the sides, I just laid the strip on and marked where I wanted to cut the angle and then cut each strip accordingly. Remember, if you do add anything onto this front section here, eventually it will be upside down and at the back, so just bear that in mind. For the inner tray, again, 3 3/4 by 3/4 on the 4 sides and the front element here. I've cut one piece which is 3 3/4 by 2 3/4 for the back, and then extended the scene into this top section here. Very simple. I've got a gnome on an action wobbler, and then the bee is on a nail art spinner. So there we have today's project. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, thanks for watching.